We recently got a brand new trailer from Marvel Studios' Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, our next MCU film coming out on May 5th, 2023, and I'm so excited for this one. I love the Guardians franchise, and it's sad that it's coming to an end, but we know they're going to go out with a big one here. James Gunn's final Marvel movie as he transitions over to leading DC, so that's really exciting as well. But Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the trailers look great, the movie looks great, so I'm really hyped up for this one. So, obviously, I've been highly anticipating the Marvel Legends wave of figures that we'll be getting for this movie, and now it's been officially revealed. And I have some mixed feelings. Let's start off by talking about the Build-A-Figure, which is Cosmo. I mean, I love that we're getting a Cosmo. This is one of the things that I most wanted from this wave, was to get a Cosmo the Space Dog, because it's a character that was, technically introduced in the first Guardians movie, but actually had a speaking role in the holiday special, and now is going to be having an even larger role in Volume 3. So I'm really excited that we're finally getting Cosmo the Space Dog, the MCU version, and could also pass off as a comics version if you want that as well. But she's going to be the Build-A-Figure. Why? You'll see later when we talk about some of the other figures in this wave, we are getting a Groot, but it's going to be a deluxe figure that's released separately. Groot could have easily been the Build-A-Figure and then had Cosmo packed in with, like, Raccoon or something like that, because I just, the whole point of a Build-A-Figure is to be a bigger size figure that they can't release for a regular retail price, and then you do something like this. And it's just disappointing. I mean, nobody liked it when they did the Hit Monkey Build-A-Figure, or I believe there was also a Raccoon Build-A-Figure once before as well. And then also specifically talking about Guardians of the Galaxy, for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, the Build-A-Figure was Mantis. That's another big one that people were annoyed about, and I'll talk about her when we get to Mantis as well. But it's just annoying. I mean, I'm still probably going to get all the figures anyway, so I'm going to get Cosmo, but it's just... It just doesn't make sense. Like, there's so many better ways they could have gone about doing this. But I mean, Cosmo does look good. Cosmo looks great. I think she's got a nice design. She looks like she has some decent articulations. That's obviously great to see. But it's kind of baffling to see that why is she the Build-A-Figure of this wave. But as for the actual wave itself, let's start off by talking about Kraglin. So this one I'm really excited about, because Kraglin, he's been there since the first Guardians movie, of course, played by Sean Gunn, director James Gunn's brother in real life, and he has never gotten a Marvel Legends figure before. I believe he is an original character for the MCU. So he's been there for almost 10 years, almost the whole decade in the MCU, and we have never gotten a Marvel Legends figure of him until now, and I think he looks great. I mean, you can see the packaging right there. There he is, of course, at the end of Volume 2, he took over Yondu's fin and his Yaka arrow, so nice to see that is returning the Yaka arrow effect piece, and he's got his Ravagers uniform on as well. I think that's great to see. I would have loved if he came with maybe an alternate head sculpt without the fin, so that you could use this as a figure of Kraglin pre-Infinity War Endgame, whenever we first saw him debut the fin. That would have been cool to see, but I think this is definitely one of my favorite figures of the wave, because this is just exactly what I wanted from him. He does also come with a knife. I don't really know what the point of that is, but then again, hey, the more stuff we get, the better. I'm not really complaining. He comes with one of the legs of Cosmo. And then we have Adam Warlock, another one I'm really excited for here. Of course, he's going to be making his debut in this film, played by Will Poulter. From what we've seen of him in the trailers, he looks great. He looks like he's going to be a really big threat in this film. And he looks awesome. It's such a cool design for this character. Obviously, you have the metallic-looking gold face and the hair, because, of course, he was created by the Sovereign, who we saw a little bit of in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And I love the suit that he has going on here as well. I do wish he had more variety of color in his suit, because in the comics his suit isn't all gold. In fact, actually, it's mainly just his his skin and his hair that is gold. In the comics, his actual suit itself is red, but it also has some black in there and like some blues sometimes as well. So I definitely would have much rather preferred that, but that's just for the movie design in general. This is very accurate to what we see in the movie and what they were probably given with concept art. I do like the little skull detailing on his like almost necklace piece there. So that looks cool. This looks like a really cool figure. I am a little disappointed he doesn't come with any real accessories other than the Build-A-Figure pieces, but then again, you really can't do a whole lot with Adam Warlock. I mean, maybe they could have done at least an alternate head sculpt or maybe some sort of effect piece. We don't know exactly what the extent of his abilities are going to be in this movie, because we know from the trailers that he has the gem on his forehead, but in the comics that's an Infinity Stone, so I highly doubt this is also an Infinity Stone. Actually, I mean, you can kind of see it, but at the same time, you can barely tell that he has that stone there on his forehead. But either way, I'm really excited for this one. And then we get into the team members, where we have Rocket Raccoon, who of course is going to be having a big arc in this film. This is going to be his starring role, and he looks pretty good. Again, we have these team suits, which are very comics accurate, so that's great to see. I think he looks awesome here. It's, of course, the complaint we always have with Rocket Raccoon is, like, it's a very small figure to be releasing, especially now with the prices for, like, $25. Yikes. But it's a decent looking figure. I mean, the articulation, the detailing, the paint, the weapon, all that stuff. He, of course, comes with the biggest piece of Cosmo, both the torso and the head. So that's definitely cool to see. But like I said, easily, they could have just packed in the whole Cosmo figure with Rocket Raccoon, and that could have been just easy enough. Or honestly, even pack him in with the Deluxe group. But whatever. So then we have Mantis, which Mantis looks great here. I'm really excited we're finally getting a single release version of this figure, because the only other MCU Mantis figure that has been released in this Marvel Legends line was, again, as the Build-A-Figure of the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 wave. So I never got that. Well, at least I got pieces of that. So I think I have, like, her torso, and I think that's it. So I've been really wanting a Mantis figure in my collection, and we finally are going to get her. But my problem is that she's in the team suit. I mean, I get that obviously in this movie, they're going to be wearing the team suits. So that's what makes sense, is to make her figure wearing the team suit. But I would much prefer to have a figure of her in the green outfit that she's been wearing this whole time she's been a part of the MCU. So it is kind of disappointing that it's going to be the only way you can get a figure of Mantis in the suit that she's worn since 2017 is by getting that Build-A-Figure. That's really disappointing, and that really kind of sucks. Again, it's understandable because, you know, this is what she's going to be wearing in this movie. But as much as I like the team suits, I think they're cool and everything, but I would much prefer the characters' individual suits, and I'll talk about that with the other figures as well. Kind of similar to how, like, with the X-Men, like, the X-Men, I think it's cool, like, when they have their team suits, like, it makes sense that they would have team suits, like matching team suits, but at the same time, I would much prefer to see them in their individual comics accurate suits, as opposed to what we got in the Fox X-Men movie. So I'm really hoping we get that from the MCU X-Men, but here, that's not the case with the Guardians. So she doesn't come with any accessories either. A lot of these figures are kind of lacking on the accessories. Mantis, again, is another one that kind of makes sense, because, like, really, what would she come with? Drax is another one. I mean, Drax looks great here. Again, in the team suit, I would much prefer just the regular old Drax. Then again, they have released 2 versions of him, single release, in the past. So I wasn't collecting Marvel Legends at the time, so I don't have that figure. So, but I mean, that's technically my fault, I guess. But I mean, what we do have here from the figure, it looks great. This is going to be our last appearance of Dave Bautista as Drax in the MCU. I do love how bulky this figure looks. Like, you can see, like, look at them thighs, like the shoulders, everything. This is a thick looking guy, nice muscular big boy of Drax for the MCU. So he looks great there. And then we have Nebula. Another one similar to Mantis, that there's only been one other MCU figure released for this character, unless you count the Nebula head sculpt from Avengers Endgame with that the Avengers Quantum Suit 2-pack, but that doesn't really count. The only other figure we got was of Nebula from the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, where she was wearing her purple suit. And now we have a new figure of her here wearing the team suit, which again, I mean, she looks great and everything, and I love the design. I love the team suits. They look great, but I would much prefer to have her. I mean, I wouldn't mind having her in a, a figure of her purple suit. I definitely wouldn't mind that, but those are like super expensive now to try and get. But what I would even more prefer is of her in the Ravager suit, because that's what she wore in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. That's what she wore in Avengers Infinity War. That's what she wore in Avengers Endgame. That's what she wore in Thor: Love and Thunder. That's what she's been wearing the majority of her time in the MCU, and we have never gotten a figure of her in that suit. So I don't know if hopefully we'll get that during like another the first 10 years type line or Infinity Saga type line of Marvel Legends. So I am hoping that we get that eventually at some point. But for now, I guess this is going to have to do. I did get the What If version of Nebula, but that is, of course, an animated figure, and she has a blonde wig on. But I suppose I could take the head sculpt from this and put her on that figure where she's wearing the purple suit, so that could work for what I'm going for. But I do like that she comes with plenty of accessories, though. She comes with 2 different weapons, as well as this really cool sword, which actually is for her arm. If you saw in the most recent trailer, she actually can, like, shift her left arm, which of course is a cybernetic arm. She can actually transform into this giant cool looking blade. So I think that's pretty awesome. And then finally we have StarLord himself, Chris Pratt. He is the one that I think makes the most sense. Like, he's the one that I least mind wearing the team suit, because that's what he wears most of the time in the comics anyway, and he just looks really cool here. Now my only complaint about this is the lack of accessories. I mean, I love that we're getting the Chris Pratt head sculpt, but where is the StarLord helmet? This happened the same with the last StarLord figure we got for Thor: Love and Thunder. It was just a Chris Pratt head sculpt. Well, really bad Pratt head sculpt on that figure. This one, the head sculpt looks pretty good, but I would like at least the option to have a StarLord helmet on this figure. I mean, the blasters look cool, all that stuff. That's great to see, but I mean, where's the StarLord helmet? Have we just like thrown that away? I mean, to be fair, I don't think we've seen it in any of the trailers, so I don't even know if he's going to wear it in this movie. But it's still a little disappointing that Hasbro kind of cheaped out on that to not just give us that helmet that they've made plenty of times before. That they already have the mold for it. Just, yeah. So anyway, it's a decent looking wave. I definitely have my issues with it. Definitely a lot of things that I would prefer instead of what we got from these figures. But I'm still not a fan of Cosmo being the Build-A-Figure, but I still really want this figure, so we will see, I suppose. I'm not sure when this wave goes up for pre-order either. I heard something about, like, I'm assuming it's sometime this week. I heard something about maybe possibly tomorrow. As usual, it'll probably be at about 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's just what they usually do for Hasbro releases. But aside from this full Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 Cosmo Build-A-Figure wave, again, like I mentioned previously, we do also have the Deluxe Groot figure released as well. So this is going to be coming with a baby Rocket Raccoon, which we saw briefly in both of the trailers. And I mean, this thing looks adorable. Like, it's a baby Rocket Raccoon. That's awesome. I like that that's going to be an inclusion here. And then we have this Deluxe Groot, which looks really awesome. It's this nice, big, bulky, buff Groot, almost like a football player Groot, that we saw kind of first debut in the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. So he looks great here. I'm still not personally a huge fan of this design in general, but I mean, this figure is fairly accurate to the design in the MCU. The head sculpt and the expression looks a little creepy and dead looking, but I do like the little adorable wave pose that they have him in right here. I like the little bits of green throughout, the nice sculpting of the bark and all that. So I mean, it's a really good looking figure. I'm definitely gonna want that as well. So anyways, guys, that is the official wave and also deluxe figure for the Marvel Legends Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 movie. I'm really excited for this movie. I'm really excited for these figures. So guys, definitely let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about this official reveal of the Marvel Legends Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 figures? So, of course, which ones are you planning on getting? And what other figures from this movie do you hope we get as well? Because, of course, there's no Gamora here. There's no High Evolutionary. Hopefully we get those maybe released as a store exclusive or something like that. But at some point down the line as well. So, anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video and hit the subscribe button so I can keep you up to date on everything goes on in the Marvel life.